Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com. This is the Broiler Chicken Show. Buck, 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 buck. That chicken's a little bit ill. Actually, a special treat for those people that are in the Hangout today. Hopefully, somebody put a smile on your face. Just feeling a little bit. If anything, as a professional trader, the great part about our life is we don't have to play by the rules. I've told you guys before, I could be sitting here. And when I was a broker, I used to tell people this. Of course, my sales manager, he hated this kind of talk. But I used to say, look, I could be sitting here in a diaper smoking a cigar. As long as I'm giving you half decent advice and you're making money from trading, do you really care? Hit the like button, subscribe, ring Colleen's bell. If you wouldn't mind, please. Oh, and you know what? TRI is getting so beefy now with all of our cool products and services. I think what I want to do is I actually want to have like regular raffles. Because I think, to be perfectly honest with you, the dashboard membership, just simply being able to come in and access this breadth indicator information, and of course our awesome signaling system. I think this is definitely worth it. In fact, I would hope that by the end of students' experience here at TRI, especially with built-in tools like things like the journals. In fact, Chris and I got together. We did our weekend review of trading. So every week we should have a weekly review how things went. But, you know, honestly, I believe that this dashboard subscription now, I think, number one, this is going to be a great little raffle product. I think the price tag is like a $500 a year subscription, you know, $50 a month kind of thing. But if you do the Black Friday deal, we'll give you 2 months for free kind of thing. Well, I mean, the good part about it is there's lots of crypto information in here. So if you don't give a shit about the stock market, trust me, we got plenty of crypto stuff to you for you to chomp on. But I'd argue too now that I believe that crypto is basically integrated into the quote unquote technology sector. And if you see tech rally, QQQs, NASDAQ, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Apple, all that, you're probably going to see crypto rallying too. So if anything, the correlation here should be extremely high. So we get buy signals in tech stocks. That's probably a good sign for crypto fans. So hopefully you see quite a bit of overlapping, confluence information, if you will. But I like the idea that the dashboard could very easily be a raffle product, like second prize in a raffle. I think first prize, of course, I think would be a seat in our education program. And actually, the purpose of this Sunday show is to actually speak to the current level 1 term. And if you have any questions that maybe weren't answered by the TAs or the instructor, that maybe I can throw in my 2 cents. And then, and I love this, thanks to our awesome marketing department, although I'm not quite sure where it is, I think. The swag shop, I think a third place prize and could be something. In fact, actually, Josh sent me a bunch of product to test drive. I'm just, might as well get Brian's input. And I'm actually using this right now, this pad itself. I'm using it every single day to handwrite notes. I like handwritten notes. So also, too, what I really want is I want like a bobblehead collection where we could have definitely Seward, Brian, and Julian bobbleheads, but I'd love to have like the whole collection. Collect the whole set. There, makes a great gift. under the tree, those kind of things. But like the bobbleheads of all the TRIers, that would be so cool. Like especially our OGs, Graham, Sharktoshi, Kiran, Murat, well, I suppose Ray and Zach, and the whole team. In fact, I think we ought to have a bobblehead for Chris as well. What do you think, guys? So we cajole Chris into a bobblehead. He is part of TRI management. So, and actually, interesting. We got the shirts in the swag shop, and I'm actually wearing a shirt. So yeah, there's TRI merch. Anybody's in the hangout, of course, you get a fun little something to put a smile on your face as well if you come in and see us in person in the hangout here today. So I'm kind of super stoked about this website and the community. I've been sort of kind of lagging over the past few years since that 17-18 peak because I really didn't want this website and this whole experience to be like the Brian Beamish experience, right? I mean, hell, I could go do that myself. But we've got Fjords, finally. Never been closer, all that kind of fun stuff. Replicating my 1980s website here. And you know, I think usable information. I think the crypto little message there last week at the end of the week, just to cool your jets a little bit, I think that was spot on. Bond market actually now is starting to flash warning signs again. So I don't know what the hell the bonds are going to do heading into FOMC this coming Wednesday, but it looks like they're setting up for trouble. Suppose we can talk about various different parts of the market. If anything, I'm getting a little concerned to see the S&P 500, the whole stock market, starting to creep up that wall of worry again, too. Again, a little bit nosebleedy. And then, of course, the actual bread signals themselves. As I've told you, Josh is actually working away on a trading plan just using the breadth indicator as his sort of second reason to justify taking a trade. You know, ideally, we want to have trade location. Indicator confirmation, you want to use the breadth indicator for indicator confirmation, totally fine. And then price structure. So I did find it kind of interesting that we had the crypto top 30 breadth indicator here actually flash a little bit of a weak sell signal here. And then you go and look at, I guess, specifically Bitcoin as sort of the big boy in the space. And I thought this was really interesting because, you know, just technicians alone, right? When I do my sort of technical analysis, 2 cents, I like the idea that we're operating in some sort of sine wave trading range. And, you know, coming out of the Wednesday show, we all sort of agreed that it felt like maybe we needed to pull back into that Fed meeting. And ironically enough, if you're a bull, that's exactly what you want to see. Because what we really want to see is a sell the rumor, then the Fed announces their thing, buy the news, and the market takes off for another leg higher. I mean, that's ideally what we'd love to see. You know, it is interesting also, too, at the same time, Ethereum is going through the this great transition from proof of work to proof of stake. The merge, yeah, as Chris says, they're calling it. Frankly speaking, I don't know whether this is actually going to be a good thing for people who are speculating on price action, or whether it's going to be a bad thing. You might find that this might just be a buy the rumor, and then once the actual merge event news happens, it's a sell the news. I'm a little concerned about that. Also, too, with regard to Ethereum, something that jumped out at me that I'm a little bit scratching my head about is this rally here stalled short of this 2.618 Foggenbaum chaos level. That should not have happened. This level should be traded to. So if anything, when I saw this, and then also too, our rule is And this is kind of like where Bitcoin did break its uptrend line. You can see the market structure, this low and that low define the market structure. We've been just basically climbing up here, right? And it's interesting, right? This is why we have the rule that you really shouldn't short this thing until you get market structure on the other side of this trend line. Because if you had said, all right, well, this is the top and we're going down, oof, see you later, sucker. And then again here, right? And interesting how we couldn't even get back above the trend line and we started to actually fail. But again, is that really market structure? That almost looks like a V top. And boom, right back to that trend line. We're not done with you, buddy. Notice how it tried to put it in, but it made another layer higher high. All right, where's RM? Sorry, pal. So you can see, if you didn't wait for market structure on the other side of the trend line, man, you got beat up just repeatedly. Bang, 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 bang. Oh, no, this is a top. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Notice this go round, we lost that trend line, rallied back up against these highs, and interesting, right into that wick. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. You can make the argument too that this is actually a head and shoulders pattern. It's hard to see off of this time frame. If I go down to like maybe a half hour chart, you can see it. Yeah. So I guess that's this wick here. So the head and shoulders is up, down, up, down, up, fail. There's the head and shoulders. Of course, that's sloppy. I really like this level. I mean, you can see where I denoted the failure here. I love this because check this out, right? Nice reload zone right against that high. Just so perfect. 61.8, that guy Paul who does the show with me on Wednesdays. If I found out on Wednesday that he did not short that, I would be very surprised. All right, Grim says they're all done. Good. Thank you, Grim. You are watching. A little thank you there. So if we go back to my favorite 243-minute chart, love this chart. That was that high, back off that high. There's a shoulder, and there's your head and shoulders. Very sloppy, not a pretty setup at all. There's the 61.8, and in fact, good old Mountain Man, right? That would be Brandon's trade right there. Oops. Right there. And, the irony of it all is that this is just working away, doing its thing. Not really anything that's changed here. If anything, what I would say is you probably draw a nice little channel so we can go that high to that high, and then you're going to drag your study back to wherever the most recent support is. So that technically is a valid level. And notice, look at how the price sort of pivoted off of there, which I think is valid. And look at that. Holy moly. Doink. It's like it literally kissed the level and just launched itself away. I'd also say, too, you could actually draw this channel going down to here. And then notice, look at what happened to the midpoint. Now, the midpoint lines up with that level, and that level. Perfectly valid. You could even, for shits and giggles, as they say, replicate this. Maybe I don't want that big channel. I want two smaller channels. And we'll just line that up, and there you go. Perfectly valid. So if somebody was going to ask me, what the hell's going on in Bitcoin, I'd say, well, we're just working our way in a descending trading range, descending channel. And we're just playing ping pong, going back off to the levels. Boom, 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 boom. And probably also, too, I mean, this is a little bothersome. You see how we kind of just, V-bottomed out of here. And then what happens is at some point we have to come back down and test this low, right? That's the V bottom. It's not, I mean, there is a higher low here, but that's pretty far away. But notice here, right? V bottom. Oh, caramba. So I don't like the look of this where we're just yawning up here and then do we roll over and have to come back down. I could very easily see something like that. So for Bitcoin itself, I don't really see a hell of a lot going on here. And then also too, like we said, from the breadth indicator, that's a pretty negative sign. It's kind of like right in here or right in here. I don't know, we can go back and look in previous, like right in here. Right in here. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen following. You know, it might just turn out where the whole damn thing just pukes out and the floor drops out of the market. I mean, that's the way it goes in trading sometimes. So I like the fact that Josh is kind of like, you know, that's a signal that tells me I better just hop off. Just cool jets. Let's go slowly here. And let's just let this thing clean itself up. Now, cleaning itself up might be something that just, it looks like this, where we just, you know, we're working our way down. We put in, you know, in this case, that's just a very quick, choppy little low. Look at this one, didn't even give you much. But at least at this point, when we turn back up here, you can say, okay, well, I'm not walking into a trap. You know, maybe hunt your longs. Me personally, and I like how Josh does this, is he wants to get the actual buy signal, and then once the buy signal comes in, and I think he got a really nice one right in here, then at this point, right, you can go into your price chart and start hunting for setups to get you long. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's basically what this rally was. So anyway, the point of the matter here is we got a big fat M working right now in Bitcoin. We have a really big fundamental event coming up in sort of the adults world. The legacy markets, as some of you crypto kids like to call it. You know, until we, and actually the rule about M's and W's, so this isn't really a short until we get market structure on the other side of this trend line. Well, it works the exact opposite the other direction too. So this really isn't a buy, quote unquote, until we actually can put in market structure on the other side of this trend line. And what's really dangerous about this is kind of like what you saw here with the down move. How many people went, oh yeah, that's it, that's the top, or that's the top, or that's the top, only to go, oh goddamn, oh goddamn, oh goddamn. So, you know, could we play against this and you get up into this area, especially if we're getting close to the Fed, we start doing this kind of thing and people are like, hey, you know, that's a buy, you got to get in. You can't call that a buy until that W actually comes in. So be careful here, right? What often happens in these situations is you get this pump up and everybody's all excited, and then we walk our way down the trend line, break everybody's hearts. I've seen that way too many times in my career. It drives me crazy. So that's that situation. Now, the good part about it for Ethereum is Ethereum doesn't really have that price structure working. Notice there's the uptrend line. Should I short that? No. Should I short that? No. Should I short that? No. So, I mean, this little wonky donkey little M top up here, I don't know. I mean, it's if anything, what I'm seeing here is the fact that we went to new high here means that the M probably looks something like that. I suppose somebody said, well, Brian, you know, this M was a head and shoulders, and so I am short from that level. If you are, and we break to new highs, just be damn careful here. And I think the number one thing that bugged me about this chart was that 2.618 floating out there. I tell you, I can't believe how many times I've taken this damn trade here and just the damn market has to go up and hit that. Then it ends out, and there's your trade. And it's just like, goddamn son of a bitch. So I don't know whether I even really have a trade here on Ethereum yet. Now, probably the coup de grace to all this is what's the dominance saying? If the dominance is still working in altcoins' favor, then I think you got to go with that. So it's kind of interesting. This is the dominance working in Ethereum's favor. This is the dominance working in Bitcoin's favor. I've also noticed too that altcoins, like things like Litecoin, seem to be doing really, really well in there. And I'm gone from Trek, so that means that half of this list is pointless, and I'll probably just delete them. In fact, maybe what we ought to do is we need to find a new cryptocurrency exchange, one that's hopefully going to stick around and not be a complete fucking pain in the ass. And let's start another 500 into a $500,000 challenge. I love doing those. So, and ironically enough, it was 8 years ago. So, in 2 years, it will be a 10-year anniversary. And I tell everybody in the school programs that usually these things move in 10-year cycles. It is the business cycle. Actually, it's more like the economic cycle. And really, I wouldn't be surprised if, like the sweet spot of when to make money in the stock market, and I would also say in crypto market, because I think crypto is now, especially with this whole move to POS, is going to be more, these things should trade more like stocks than commodities. So the question then becomes, when is the best time to actually make money in speculating in the stock market? And I've been at this game a long time. And what I have found is, I used to tell the kids from the previous cycle, recessions usually happen in years that end in 8s, 9s, 0s, 1s, and 2s. So what do you think, boys and girls? Did you all learn about what a recessionary environment could look like? I don't even know if we're even out of it yet. And what's about the 5,000 to 5 million challenge? We could do that. I mean, it's just adding another zero on the end. To be honest with you, I've spent 8 years in this market, and frankly speaking, and you guys is probably not going to like this at all, but this place is just rife with crime. It's rife with really bad attitudes, people that are not humble and not appreciative at all. They're actually just outright arrogant assholes. I don't even know whether I really even want to buy cryptocurrencies outright. I don't mind being on things like the boards and, being shareholders of public companies that have to at least disclose publicly what they're doing. There's no guarantee that they're going to be any better. But I tell you, the whole crypto, like directly investing in crypto and playing the shitcoin market, it's left a real bad taste in my mouth right now. And I keep seeing this over and over and over. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, what we really should do, you want to, Prince, you want 5,000 to 5 million? What we should do is just simply wait for the halvening event in Bitcoin. Then get Sjord to mint some sort of TRI coin. Then, get all of you guys to all fucking pile in like crazy. And then blow it out at $5 million profit and just call it a day. And ironically enough, when I sold my Dogecoin, if you had just sold all your crypto, all your DeFi, and all that crap then, you wouldn't even be wrapped up in any of the scandals or any of the nefarious stuff that's going on. You would have completely missed all that Danny internet money, magic internet money nonsense. You would have missed all that Do Kwon bullshit, right? So I get, I like the idea, like 5,000 into 5 million. That's a decent chunk of money. I mean, we could do it. I don't have a problem. TRI definitely has 5K we could throw into this. I just don't know of an exchange that I would even trust having $5,000 on, to be honest with you. And like I said, that Trex experience, man, did that ever leave a bad taste in my mouth. Bad taste. Somebody's asking over on YouTube, do I want to short now? Ironically enough, actually, no. I don't think shorting right now is such a good idea. If anything, I almost like to think of pullbacks as buying opportunities. That's probably the way I would prefer to look at this, because this chart really isn't going to tell you. I mean, first and foremost, technically, actually, I should be still long. If it was Bitcoin, I should have sold half on a double and be still riding, or not a double, but 2 to 1 in this case, and just be riding the whatever the other part of the trade is. I think that's actually how I would prefer to be situated. So right now, for example, I went and bought a whole bunch of Ethereum down at $1,000 there a month or so ago. And I don't even really want to sell any of that yet, because I still think that we're going to head higher up into the latter part of the summer. And that's probably, like these are 4-hour charts, right? So probably the better way to look at that is this, like this is a daily price chart. So daily price chart, do I really want to be shorting here? I don't think so. I really don't. I love the idea of being long off of here. And I thought it was fascinating the way that they finished the quarter in Bitcoin. I mean, you could smell the market manipulation. I mean, it was remarkable how blatantly manipulated this was into that quarter end. So somebody clearly wanted Bitcoin and wanted crypto and wanted tech and the whole damn thing right on its knees heading into this quarter end. And now with that actual pretty well-defined W there, and actually a W within a W, I don't know whether shorting, I'm not comfortable with that, unless it's something like a day trade, right? I mean, on the day trader basis, like day trader, I'm usually taking setups off of things like I'm hunting trade location off the 4-hour, and I'm taking trades actually off the 1-minute chart. So, if I was day trading Bitcoin futures, I'd be something like, okay, do I have a 4-hour trade location to work with? As you can see here, you can kind of tell where I'm thinking Bitcoin wants to go on the futures markets, eh? So that's still quite a bit higher than where we are. Suppose one thing I would probably do if I was thinking about hunting a day trade on Bitcoin is I would probably be doing something like drawing these trend lines, thinking up here. I'd also be doing things like horizontal support and resistance. So looking at that level there. So clearly this is an important level from horizontal support and resistance. Might even be drawing Foggenbaums off of here, maybe doing a trend channel off of that range right in there. All right. I'm starting to get an image in my head of what to expect. Maybe do like a nice parallel channel off of here. I really like the idea of doing one off of here. So you can clearly see there was the price structure that was sort of dictating the move up. So we've lost that. Now, I suppose one could argue, looking at this image, it's not a very good trade location, but there's a nice fractal fail. There's also another fractal fail there. Ideally, like in crude or something, I would draw my reload zones up here. And actually, this is Paul's trade, right? I think I had said earlier, right? If I had talked to Paul, who's on our Wednesday show, so Isaac, if you really like to time your trades in Bitcoin, be sure to tune into that Wednesday show, because that Wednesday show, Paul, one of our co-hosts, our current sort of co-host, he's constantly day trading in and out of Bitcoin and stuff. Maybe even swing trading to a certain degree, but probably more like day trades. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was hunting a short there. So with all that said, then we're going to sync all of this on the charts. And then let's go down and see if a setup actually set up off of that mountain man level. Because my hunch is it probably did. But let's go see. So first off, let's link this just so we have all these studies on the lower time frames. And this actually is, what is that? That's a horizontal support and resistance line. Not that. Actually, I guess resistance now, but anyway. Okay, I think that's about all we need. And then it looks like there's also an uptrend line. So interestingly enough, I think this is probably a target. Could probably also go A, B. C, D. So now we have harmonic targets. Then we also have this, look left. So clearly this is a key support area right in here. And then notice how that lines up with the ABCD. So my hunch is probably next key support is right there. There is down in this area. So throw all these, and I like to set up my trade levels off the 4-hour chart. It's sort of what works with me. Hey, there's Paul. Paul, are you short from Mountain Man there? It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't. But I bet he's probably also long though from Mountain Man going down, right? So I don't know whether he would have bought that or not. So we'll find out on Wednesday. So okay. So point of the matter here is, I like this as a profit objective, and I would actually like this as a trade location, hunting longs down in here. And then remember our Fed meeting, right? We got that damn Fed meeting coming up on the 27th. So usually the poop hits the fan right around, right around closing time on the 27th. So I would actually expect this, believe it or not. Now, if this is bullish, like I said earlier, if this is a bullish setup, sell the rumor. Then we actually rally on the other side of that, buy the news. That's what I'd like to see. Doesn't mean it has to happen. We might rally into the event, and then that becomes a buy the rumor, and then, all hell breaks loose, sell the news. I don't want to see that scenario. But at the same time, too, we're not in the business of predicting the future. I mean, all we do is we hunt our setups, and you just got to roll with the punches. So we'll take what we get, but as I said, if I had my druthers, I would prefer this sell off into the lows and then rally coming out. Hey, Eddie. Yeah, nice to see you, sir. So with that said, that would be sort of my matrix to set up my behavior patterns, and really could even now go right off of here and do a horizontal resistance. Yeah, we have a pretty good idea of levels now to consider. So if we go down to that 1 minute now. All right, so the first question that we had was, how did the price act heading into Mountain Man? And if anything, this is a good lesson in, do you just hit these fib levels blindly, or do you wait for the level to get hit and then go through the 3-step process where let's see if you guys can help me. If we're going to do the 3-step process, What's step number one? Hey, we got 48 people over there on YouTube. Woohoo! Hit the like button, subscribe, ring Colleen's bell, hit the little thumbs up thing. Just can you kiss my butt a little bit, please? Here, come on, please. Can you do it for a brother? I'm terrible at the whole Google show. It's so funny watching all these silly YouTube and Google videos though through the weekend because every single one of them jumps. It's like you got the baddest dudes got tattoos up and down both arms. They're just they've got like their arms look like tree trunks. They just look at you the wrong way and you're gonna tip over, right? But then right halfway, can you please hit the like button, subscribe, ring Colleen's bell? It's so funny. We're all so programmed. Okay, so what the hell was I saying? Okay, what's rule number one? 3-step setup. Geez, I wanted you to draw these channels perfect. Okay, well, I hope I drew them perfect. The YouTube shuffle. Yeah. It's so funny. Listen to them. I mean, the whole damn. I mean, it's so funny because like everybody gets all upset about the beer flu virus conspiracies. Don't you all see that you're being programmed? You conspiratorialists, you're being programmed to act the way that you're doing. It's remarkable. Oh, Agent 87 says, love the content, but the shows are too long. Well, I don't know. I just love talking to you guys, though, Agent 87. I mean, it's kind of funny because and I'm sure you guys on social media know this now. I hope you do, but I have a low-functioning 21-year-old son with severe autism who is nonverbal. He does not talk the way you and I talk. And actually, I'm not even really teaching the school programs anymore. Where I have all the students who have learned all of this material. They're actually the ones teaching the school program. So ironically enough, outside of the daily briefs and these shows that I do for you guys on YouTube for free, I don't actually talk at all. It's dead quiet in my life. And, when I'm with my son, I go, Liam, would you like to talk today or no talk? No talk. All done talk. It's like, okay, well, we solved that quickly. And at McDonald's, if I don't, and it's so funny because we actually tried to incorporate like Costco into him because he used to like the chicken strip. No, fuck Costco. It's all McDonald's now. All McDonald's. Okay, so back to our story. And sorry if they're too long. If anything, I'm the type of person, and I used to tell people this when I first did these videos, I'm the type of person where you can actually put this shit on 2x speed and you can still understand what I'm saying. So my suggestion to you is if the video is like 2 hours long, hit 2x speed and all of a sudden now it's down to an hour. And then as soon as you hear me actually talking about something that interests you, then slow it down to normal speed and start taking notes and the whole thing. Okay? All right. Okay, so and like this part of the mindless rant. Because this is the shit, right? You're supposed to be learning this. And if anything, we got to figure out some way to do those little Google Shorts. Because Chris, we got to think about this. Because those little Google Shorts, they I literally sit there and spend like 2 or 3 hours just going through and watching the little shorts. And they do have some technicians that every once in a while they'll have like a little, but the videos suck. I mean, the content that we do is so much better. But we just got to figure out how to do those little shorts. So, and actually, yeah, speaking of big and manly longs, Josh is here. All right. Anyway, watch that back 5 minutes ago, Josh, to see what I was talking about. Okay, so 3-step process. Yeah, and actually, good. You know why, Ryan? Excellent observation, Ryan. You know why? Because I'm really, really pleased with the progress that I'm doing with a couple of my compadres on the site about this transparency pact. And I suggest, like, I fancy myself a professional futures trader. So I don't, and like we've had fun. Crypto was a fun experience. It was fun and all. And of course, we got plenty of people. Josh now will be running like a swing trading program on TRI over the next year or two if you want to swing trade crypto and Bitcoin. I love the direction that's going. Sjord's building automated algorithm trading systems. So if you want to just like robotically trade crypto, we've got those things up and running. I might trade Bitcoin and Ethereum futures contracts down the road. We'll see how that goes. And then, of course, Sjord has the green light if he wants to get involved in DeFi projects, and he wants to get involved in crypto directly. Great. Just make damn sure to sell halves on doubles and get your original capital back. Because guaranteed, when the cycle's over, they bring all of this shit right back down to nothing. So, all right. So look at that. Sade's already asking. It's really that question is entirely answerable by Josh. I mean, you've seen his performance relative to Bitcoin over the past 6-8 months. So really, my attitude is it's just a question of him polishing up the product and getting the dissemination of information solidified. And as soon as he's ready to go, he's ready to go. So I can't really comment on end dates. If anything, we were going to try and have Josh come on a daily brief and do like a nice summary. So maybe in the coming weeks, we can have Josh come on and have that conversation with us. So I can't really answer exactly when, but it is in the pipeline. And it will definitely be here before we actually get ready for the next cycle. Because keep in mind, I still, remember Benner cycle 22-23. This is going to take a while to get through, folks. And all my rants about Bitcoin cycles and stuff like that, I don't see anything changing there. So, we got a good 6-8 months to put all this shit into place. And then, what I would say is probably like January, February, March of next year. That's probably when we should be like, okay, we got to have everything ready to go and let's hit the ground running. All right. So back to our story here. Somebody was asking, why am I in such a good mood? I'll say why am I in such a good mood because I signed, verbally signed, a pact with a few traders on the website that we were going to commit to being a completely open and transparent reporting of our trading. Ideally, Brian is a best practices kind of guy. And there's really no point in you even listening to a guy like me unless I do demonstrate the shit that I'm trying to teach you guys. So, as you can see from the screen, while I've been blabbing away here, hopefully you've been reading this back. This was my weekend review. And what I find, and this is to answer your question specifically, what I find is after you journal out all of the things that have bothered you, whether it be bad trades, losing money, finding out that the government wants to put your kid into, technically Liam should really be living in kind of like a quasi hospital type setting for the rest of his life anyway. But I was not happy at all about the place that they are proposing to move my son. And that bothered me immensely. And yet, if you watched Wednesday's show, people while watching the show could tell, Brian, you sound really down. And it was interesting because that directly affected how I performed through the rest of the week. It really affected it. Forced myself to go to bed very early force myself to oversleep because I really want to make sure that I'm caught up with my sleep. Um, I relieved half of my face of the burden of facial hair, and all of you in the hangout should get a nice little kick out of that. And just trying to have fun. You know, when JoJo was with us, I miss you, sweetie. Sure do. When JoJo was with me, I used to make it like a daily goal to try and make her laugh and try and make her smile. It used to make me so happy when I used to, and I'm not really that funny of a guy. In fact, most of my jokes land flat. But I'll do crazy things, like if you come in the hangout and you look at me today, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck?" But I do crazy things like this because all I want to do is I just want to see a smile on your face. I just want to see, yeah, that sort of the joie de vivre, you know. So actually, I saw something really cool. It really touched me yesterday. Where, yeah, I don't want to get too emotional through this. So anyway, the point of the matter is why am I in a bit better spirits? Well, I'm in a bit better spirits because I've given myself permission to let go of what was bothering me psychologically, and of course, it doesn't change the fact. But at least you download those emotional angst and those emotional stresses onto your journal. And then by doing so, I can clearly see the effect that it had on me. I started the week and I was humming and hawing, just rocking and rolling. And I had a couple of profitable days. I even had a day where I said, you know what, Mondays are usually chop days. And indeed, Monday was a super chop day last week. Had a couple profitable days, was a great demonstrator of best practices to the site. I think the site got really good value out of watching my whole trade execution process, the whole thing. And then I ran into the government. Typical, eh? The interesting thing is on Thursday, I did have the patience and discipline not to do anything because I knew I was in a bad frame of mind. But Friday, I let it slip. And if anything, how do we say this? I can't really comment on the other sort of social influencers on social media. I mean, it's probably one of the reasons why I don't have a lot of following. There aren't that many viewers of these. It's not like in the hundreds of thousands and all that kind of shit. But I'm a masochist by nature, so everybody should know that. I love making my life as hard and as difficult as possible on myself. I don't know why, but I do. But I actually think, great, I'm dead. But one thing that I've noticed is that I like being humble with you guys. And when I'm humble with you guys and go, hey guys, I got fucked up today. It brings me back down to earth. It sort of reminds me that I'm just human. Just like everybody else, I make mistakes. And if anything, I like the idea that, hey, I'm going to fuck up. I'm not, yes, I made a mistake. In fact, on Friday, I made 3 critical mistakes in the day trade that I took. And then looking back afterward, you go, what the fuck was I thinking? But given the fact that I was in a very twisted and almost like revenge state, it actually makes sense why I made the mistakes. I was forcing the issue. And then if you go through this process of vetting it out, and this is why it's so important, everybody, especially you level oneers, people on YouTube, you don't get this. I would strongly suggest that, ironically enough, one of the most valuable services of being a member of TRI is having your own user account and your own trade journal that you can log and track everything that you're doing. And this has absolutely nothing to do with whether the market's a buy or a sell. It has everything to do with, can you control yourself? And, I love this journaling platform because it just gives you the ability to keep track of all your trade setups, all your notes, everything, where you entered, where you exited, how did it go. And see, bought, stopped. I'm an open book, lost money. Ugh. But everything is there in glorious Technicolor. And like I said, this is one of the reasons why I feel as optimistic as I do today, is because today my trading, my transparency pact buddy, we got together and we just reviewed. Actually, this week wasn't that bad. Even though I had some shitty shit at the end of the week, I was actually profitable at the end of the week. And that's the irony of it all, of course, is if you can control yourself. And yeah, I had a bad day. As soon as I booked this loss and I saw how terrible my trading was, shut it down. Okay, fine. I still actually ended the week profitable. So maybe half the reason why I'm as happy as I am is I started the day thinking, oh, I suck. Then I went and ran the numbers and I did all thing. And actually going 2 for 3 with 2 winners and 1 loser, that's actually a very business as usual kind of trader's life. The only issue that I have here is that the loser actually wasn't a valid trade setup. And that's all about process goals. And that's why it's so critical. This stupid game, it drives you crazy, but there is so many ways to screw this thing up. We have everybody who has problems, trying to figure out where they're going wrong and how do they deal with the mistakes. Look how many different ways you can screw your trade up here. So, I've been at this game long enough that I expect perfection of myself. So a little bit cross when I go back and I review my journal and I say, wow, man, what a horrible trade. But at the same time, too, this is really important to understand that even your 30th year trading, if somebody comes to you and upsets you, and then you turn around and go right into it, you are just as susceptible as making a mistake as the very first day you do this. And that's the shitty part about trading. Well, I don't know if that explains why I'm in a little bit better mood. But I'm in a little bit better mood after reviewing the data and finding out that actually bad isn't really that bad after all. All right, sorry about that. Usually I put myself on mute for that. All right, so we talked, and there was something actually I was actually specifically talking. Oh yeah, 3-step talk about going off on a tangent, right? Brian has a bad habit of doing this. Okay, back to our original story that we started about a half an hour ago. And this is why these videos are so damn long. 3-step process. What's step number 1? Location. And of course, we said, what's the most important reason in this 3-step process? It's location. What's the most important word in real estate? There's actually 3 words in real estate that are important. Location, location, location. Anyway, so step number 1 is location. So does it make sense? We are now entering red boxes. What do I want to think about in red boxes? Yeah, define rich. I don't know whether you noticed, but you can't even buy a house here in Vancouver for less than $2 million. So define rich. I'm comfortable, don't get me wrong, but how the fuck do you define rich? All right, so look, back to our conversation here. Try and stay on topic. When we enter red boxes, now you can look at this as Mountain Man. Hey, Mountain Man, that's definitely location. We're coming into location. Do you hit Mountain Man blindly? Well, you can see that if you did hit Mountain Man blindly here, you had to take a bit of heat. You know, at one point, look, you were right up here. You're short from here. And if Mountain Man's your only reason for being short, you're looking at a price up here going, oh boy, was that a good decision or maybe not? So that's why I don't really like to trade fib levels just on their own. What I do like to do is once we're in location, then we move on to three-step process, step number 2. What the heck is step number 2? All right, and here come the answers from everybody in the Hangout. Maybe like indicator confirmation. Some sort of outside source, go-kart divergent. Some sort of outside source that sort of says, you know what, price isn't nearly as strong as you think it is if you're thinking about shorting. And of course, the absolute best scenario there is if we can get something called divergence. And you know, there's a debate as to what types of divergences is. There's different types of divergence. Me personally, I prefer what's called confirmed divergence. Now, you can get confirmed divergences in a price action. You know, say off of something like a moving average relationship. Relative strength index can give you a price action divergence. You can get a volume divergences, so the pace of buying, if you will, is disconnecting with price action. You can even get volatility divergences. In essence, the volatility of the asset is changing as the trend is changing, i.e. volatility is coming out of price. That's usually a sign that, hey, a reversal may be imminent. So in this particular case, I built actually over the years a number of different indicators that help me see divergence. Now that we're up into location, what I want to see is yes, the price of the asset's making higher highs, but my either price momentum, volume momentum, volatility momentum indicators are not making higher highs. So, and you can see this was choppy. I'm not going to say this was easy. I can see a number of different situations. It looks like there was one top that came in up here. And you can see the MACD histogram started to diverge. Let's see how we can do that. Oh, not right up. How do I just do that? Let's put all these away. Put that away. That away. That away. Nope. That away. No, come on. There. Okay, so this is our MACD indicator. Not a bad example, but wow, look at this mess. So one reason kind of why I'm not really too keen on trading Bitcoin futures is they do this a lot, very, very choppy. It almost looks to me like there was a top that came in like through here. Started to confirm right through there. See that top there. Market was making higher highs in price. Interesting how they went and M'd out price. They took price down, but then boom, quickly stopped you up. If anything, maybe this was a little bit of a bull div as a bit of a warning there. Yeah, say that's a bit suspect. I also like to have some sort of overbought, oversold indicator on my charts when I'm looking for these setups. So, you know, indicator confirmation. I'm going to look at Williams percentage R. This is sort of a bastardized version of Williams percentage R, my Willie indicator. And you can see we actually did get stupidly overbought up top here. Even had another right there got stupidly overbought. So probably there was some sort of trade up here, but they quickly stopped us out. So if anything, great example of a setup that did not work. Don't lose your focus. Stay focused. Looks like another top came in here. Ooh, look at this one. So this high here, 27, 26, not quite a div. Yeah, I don't know whether I actually even got a setup that came in here that would be valid for me. Nice overbought condition there. I'm not really seeing any divs there. Might have been a little bit of a div up there, but nothing really solid. So I don't know whether I really would have had a trade set up. I think, everything actually looks like it's set up, but there was a nice little FU that blew me out there. I would have looked back afterward and gone, oh, those bastards. As you can see, this high just, let's see, it says 27, no, 26, 27. So it almost made a dip. Not quite. But I think that probably the trade, and interesting how it's basically off of Paul's level. It almost looks like the second opportunity, right? Because there's the first opportunity. Actually, I like this thinking. See, notice how there's this top up here. They ran the stops. Brian all pissed off. They brought it down. Then notice, look how they brought it right back up. Right into reload zones. And if anything, this is a really good example of reload zone in a reload zone, double RLZs, and look at what's there. I think there's probably your trade. The only problem is MACD didn't really div out. Willie did go stupid. So now what I would say is, well, maybe let's take a look at RSI. Did it div out? Oh, there you go. Merry Christmas. Is that a new high? 23,700, 23,700. So isn't that interesting? Same high. There's the RSI div. So you can see we didn't really, I guess you could say that, what's the close here? 23,695, 23,695. Geez, no, they just didn't give us any divs here. But I do like that Willie stupid over condition there. And in an RLZ, there's a pretty good looking little M. So I do like the idea that maybe you hunted this top. Kind of a big risk window, especially for Bitcoin futures. It's so damn expensive. It's kind of like natural gas. Oh, goodness. Don't ever trade natural gas. Too expensive. And actually interesting. Look how I originally put that M top there, even though we went to new highs there. So there's the RSI div. It's fascinating how this trade really didn't form here. So we had the divergence. Divergence is confirmed. Boom. You got this huge top here. Up, down, up, fail. But this would have implied just a massive amount of risk. All the way up there. That's a lot of risk. What is that? 133 bucks? Is that what it is? 23.7, 23.6. Okay, so what is this? Is this like a buck a point? I'm not even quite sure. But if it was a buck a point, then I suppose that's not terrible amount of money. So first setup failed. They ran the stops. Then second setup, and this is anybody on the site is familiar with this. This is Linda Bradford Radke. She used to tell me take 2 shots at your setup. So I think that this actually is your trade setup there, like sharpshooter futures trader dude, right there. Hindsight, of course, 2020. Probably actually the way I would have liked to have traded this if this was like a crude oil contract, just illustration purposes, and hindsight, like I said, it's always 2020. So kind of not really too helpful, but maybe you can take a screenshot of this and just hunt for this kind of stuff in the future. And of course, all site members and stuff like that. This is how I walk you through all of my day trading. So I'd want to put on 3 contracts here. The first contract I want to take off at a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio of whatever this range is. So 2-to-1 works out to be right. Oh, come on, Neil. Anyway, right in that area. So I'd want to take one contract off here. Now, there's an old adage in trading that says you really don't want to see a winning trade turn into a losing trade. So I give myself permission that if this trade idea is correct, then what I want to do is at 50% of the anticipated move, right here, I'm going to move my stop to scratch. So that way, if the market does come back, boom, I'm stopped out at scratch. No harm, no foul. No big deal. In this case, boom, out goes 1. So yeah, this would be AOCO, sell, or I guess in this case, buy back. Buy 1 at the 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. Boom. Of course, stop is at scratch because 50% of the moves already happened. And then at this point, now I would say, all right, what's a realistic technical objective? And of course, all new people to trading, we really want to concentrate on 50% rules. So, this is interesting, 50%. That's our sort of, when do we get to move our stop to scratch? This 50%, this is going to be a profit-taking objective. So remember, we shorted 3 up here. We bought 1 back at the 2-to-1, stop at scratch. Then we're going to buy another 1 back, the second car, we call this. At that 50% rule. And then at this point, we actually give ourselves permission to trail the 3rd car. So we bought another 1 back here. And then on the 3rd car down here, we're going to use the 3 high-low method to just trail stops. So boom, we're filled. We got 1 more left. 3 high-low method. 1, 2, 3. My stop was at scratch, but I can move it now. So the stop on the remaining car is right there. And you can see the market sort of plays around quite a bit. Never really comes up and tests, but breaks new lows. And on the event of breaking the new lows, then we can redo our count. So now we go 1, 2, 3. So now I can move my stop from here down to here. All right, 1, 2, 3, counting backwards. Now, for like really fluid futures contracts, like things like crude oil or something like that, I actually like the idea of moving up to like the 3-minute chart with this 3 high-low method. So then that way you don't get really flushed out too quickly. You don't see, doesn't make a huge difference here, but I can absolutely tell you it's something like crude that's up and down like a horse drawers. It can make quite a difference. So regardless, boom, we move to new lows. So at this point, you just go, okay, 3 high-low method, 1, 2, 3. Now I have my stop against this high. That's right up here. Then the market makes another new low, rallies back, and then breaks to another new low here. So now 3 high-low method, 1, 2, 3. Now my stop is just a little bit lower there. Now, what I would suggest, and you might have looked at this and said, that's an awful lot of W's, Brian. Since we've already hit the 50% rule, we're coming into key support here. We're coming into the weekend. I think I just want to take profits and walk away. I would not fault you at all. But if you were just managing that position, I would say you probably have your stop just above this high here, which is, that high right there. Ironically enough, that's actually going to probably have your stop just on the other side of this trend line. You might find that this thing comes all the way back up to the trend line, then crabs right back out again. That happens all the time. And like I did earlier with these dotted lines, I think you could probably put a dotted line right over that line and call that a resistance line off of like the higher time frames. That's obviously going to be a key reference. So that would be how I would have day traded that top. This is an interesting one because really this is a really so got 3 different things in my head. Let's get this out of the way. So reason number 3, like we said, finally, is we want to see market structure. And remember, like our conversation about things like you want to wait for that M on the other side of the trend line, because if you take the trade at the trend line break, you're asking for trouble. That's why number 3's got to be market structure. I think this is actually a really good example where you might have even said, well, Brian, why am I going to take that short there? I thought you said I had to wait for market structure on the other side of this trend line. So you can see how, had I followed that thinking, which is probably the smart thinking, draw this market structure trend line, we would not have taken this trade. This trade would have been a trap, wouldn't it? Are you going to take that trade on the break of that trend line? I don't know. It's asking for trouble. And sure enough, look what fucking happened. Bang! Isn't that incredible? Hey, thank you, Asha. Appreciate it. Oh, by the way, before we move any further, we should all, if you are interested in coming to the Portugal meetup for TRI in the weekend of September 16th through 18th in Nazaré, reach out and let us know. And if you are a TRIer and you are looking for accommodations, for God's sakes, you got to let us know, because we're booking that second house in Nazaré now. We're debating whether to book a second house in Porto, and Brian's sleeping on the couch in Oliveira de Hospital, but that's another conversation. Point is, if you are doing the Porto port or the Nazaré port and you haven't got in touch with us, please let us know. Like Naja, did we ever hear back from Naja, and who was the other person? Dr. Sade? We need to hear from you guys, right? Because we're booking these Airbnbs. Anyway, all right. So Chris is saying no, we haven't heard back from you. So come on, guys, get off your butts. You got to get serious about this. All right. So, and if you are interested in the meetup, and I'm not even quite sure how it works, but I suppose on the day of the party, if you happen to be in the area, come and hang out with us and have a drink. I would love to hang out with you. Josh, we should probably make, you know what I'm thinking, Josh? I'm telling you what I'm thinking. I'll tell you what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. What? Hey, Brian, and actually, Brian should get a little bit of active, because when he gets really excited, his octave goes up to high. Hey, there it is. I think we need to get a T-shirt of this. Josh, are you still here? I don't know whether you're still here or not. Hey, there he is. We need a T-shirt of this, and we need a coffee mug. We need this should be another coffee mug, right? So in our collector set of coffee mugs, I think we need to have a TRI Meetup 2022 coffee mug. Is that cool? Yeah, like Sid's even. Yeah. I'll remind you, Chris, if you can remind me. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you want to write that down, or Chris, if you want to, write that down, that we should remind Josh of that. I think that would be a really, really smart idea. It is written. All right, cool. Okay, so I try to teach you how to day trade. Hope you guys are enjoying this. Looks like Austria's enjoying this. That'd be interesting. Is translating this setup to Binance, because I know all you guys trading on crypto. Maybe that's what I have to do next, is see if we can resurrect that Binance. Although I don't know whether Binance and Canada are getting along. Our little dictator here in this country, you can clearly see he and the banks, of course, own his fucking ass, but he does not like crypto at all. And little Barbie girl finance minister who doesn't have any education whatsoever in the finance industry, and now all of a sudden she's the minister of finance for this country. How the fuck does that work? She, well, the reason why Canada's so popular is because we're so popular. What? Anyway, these people absolutely hate crypto with a passion. I went and moved 50 G's from a bank account that I have to a futures trading platform. Absolutely nothing to do with crypto. And they're calling me up on the phone. Oh, this is the compliance department. We're calling just to confirm that you understand the risks of investing and what you're doing with your money. What? Hey, hello, this is my money. Fuck you. Oh, by the way, is this for crypto? Are you investing in crypto, sir? So clearly they didn't even take the time to, number one, take a look at me as a client. And I used to be a fucking options trader for this bank. I was one of their fucking derivatives traders. You would think that this bank, if they did any compliance, any due diligence, they would have looked at my account and went, oh, this guy's one of us. He's got over 35 years experience working in the industry. They didn't know anything about that. They're like, are you sure you understand the risks that are involved? And I even told the girl, and I said, by the way, ma'am, and I know that this call is being recorded, I hope you realize there is less risk in me moving my money to where I'm moving. And if you take a look at what I'm doing, then you would understand that, than me holding this money in your bank. There is more risk in keeping my money in your bank than doing what I'm doing. But you're not even going to bother taking the time to actually do the due diligence to figure out what it is I'm actually doing. You are just making an assumption, and you've been given some script. And I can tell, sweetie, you're only a couple years out of high school. I can hear it in your voice. But for some reason, if I say the word crypto, all of a sudden you get this fucking God's permission to shut my account down. Now, how the fuck does that work? I mean, this is how twisted this whole 2022 Klaus reset bullshit has gotten. And I got to say, if it's one thing that I've seen that I'm actually extremely impressed with, is that the United States public has had enough. And you, like I said, my day off, I just sit there and surf through all the YouTube videos and, all the different, I mean, for some reason, they seem to think I love The Sopranos. There are so many Soprano shorts in this feed, it's ridiculous. But what's fascinating is, of course, there's a whole bunch of these American political things. And, a year or two ago, it was all the socialists and the woke idiots, all just, oh, you better, say the right pronoun or we're going to shit on your head. And those, and defund the police and all that crap. Now I can clearly see the public and sort of the tone of YouTube has completely gone polar opposite, where now every single video is fuck government. These guys are out to get us. There's a fucking idiot in charge of our country right now. And what I'm also probably hearing, which is quite shocking, is I'm starting to hear the tone of bring Trump back. Not only would Trump win in the next election, but I'm hearing bring Trump back. That's what I'm starting. That's the tone I'm hearing out of social media down in the States. Now, it'll be really, and you can see like the January 6th commission, all that nonsense. You can, and like, the government funded media that really wants to undermine Trump here in Canada, man, they are just going over the top. And what the hell does Canada have anything to do with being interested in the January 6th report out of the States? I mean, come on, what the hell is going on here? So these people, it's not even our country. pay attention to the problems in our country, please, and quit every single day. Like, you go on CNN, and man, it's incredible. Every single headline is about this January 6th inquiry nonsense. Oh, the fact that somebody shot 10 people. Well, that's page 5 news. We got to concentrate on, and it's so funny, CNN, they won't even say Trump's name, the former president, that person. It's remarkable. I mean, it's so blatantly obvious, it's ridiculous. Anyway, so as I said, just as an observer of humans, because half of the time I don't even think I am human. So I don't even know about that. But me observing the humans, I'm literally watching the pendulum start to swing back the other direction. And I think that's fascinating. And like I said, hats off to you American citizens. I mean, seriously, none of us in Canada have the balls. For some reason, we can't stand up to this idiot that's in charge of our country here. And now, because of the way the parliamentary system in Canada works, we're stuck with this clown for the next 3 or 4 years, and there's not a damn thing we can do about it. So, and ironically enough, for him to stay in power, he's got to keep the woke socialist. And what's so hilarious about this is that these leftist, quote unquote, socialists, they're not even representing the people. I mean, theoretically, the socialists, well, we represent the working class. We represent the guy on the street and all that kind of stuff. No. I mean, these people, they're more concerned about being politically correct than they are about the actual individual's rights in our society. So, oh boy, there's a rant. I went off on one there. Okay, so there's your life as a day trader. Party on, Wayne. Party on, Garth. Interestingly enough, I'm getting the impression that I think I better throw on a good-looking trend line on every single setup that I'm trading here. Because what a great analogy. I was walking you through. Trade location, we got the big check. Indicator confirmation. Didn't really get the div that I was hoping for. We did get Willie Stupid. And interestingly enough, on the M before the trend line break was a trap. And boom, they stopped me out. Then M on the other side of the trend line, beautiful looking little trade, away you go. So, yeah, interesting, eh? Okay, not even quite sure how the hell I got on this tangent, but I hope you guys enjoyed that. And of course, you got a whole bunch of political rhetoric thrown in there to boot. Thank heavens the pendulum's swinging back against the socialists now, eh? I pity the people in Europe, though. Oh, my goodness. And you know what I don't understand, and this is something that baffles me, is, and like I said, hats off to the Americans. Because if it's one thing I absolutely love about the Americans is if they don't like something, they're upset. And they will have their voices heard. I do not understand how this Christine Lagarde has so completely mismanaged this situation in Europe with regard to inflation and interest rates, and yet how she can so arrogantly sit up on her podium barking at the world, not having the slightest bit of concern about her keeping her job. Like, you can literally see Chair Powell and even Granny there, although Granny, she actually had to publicly admit recently that she got the whole inflation thing completely wrong, which was great. And now you don't hear anything from Granny anymore. But what I don't understand is how this Lagarde woman can act so despotic. I mean, she was unequivocally wrong in her prognostications of how the economy was going to unfold here through this whole health crisis. All of them were completely and utterly wrong. And yet she's acting as though even now that she is actually right in this whole thing. And the way that she talks like, well, this is exactly what we expected the whole damn time. It's bizarre. I don't get it. Why is this lady still in her job? She is, I mean, first and foremost, she's not an economist. She has no banking history whatsoever. She's a lawyer by trade. How are these people keeping their jobs? If I screwed up as badly as these people screwed up, there's no way I would have my job. They would be like, sorry, there's the exit, sir. If I would trade in the market, like at a prop firm, the way that these central bankers have fucked our society up, I would be, Nebraska would have been like, buddy, there's the door, and don't let the door hit you in the ass. I don't get it. It's the weirdest thing to me. I just don't get it at all. What are yeah. It's baffling. It's absolutely baffling. Now, it's interesting. I'm just hearing the comments here. Guys are like, well, couldn't you use the breadth indicator to tell you as a reason to justify shorting? Yeah, you're right. That would have worked perfectly. You would have looked like a fucking genius. So right on. I guess what I'm thinking here now is, and of course, we're getting ready for a new trading week. We're getting ready for the Fed. So looking at this image, does it seem to you guys that maybe, well, you know what? Let's do a little trivia kind of question here. And maybe what we'll do is I'll give you a little hint, right? And the hint is this right here. What do you think Brian's kind of thinking might happen here? We go down to lower time frames. We didn't see the 1 minute. It's pretty low. Maybe I'll give you another hint. Make it really easy for you. What happens if I go like that? And then remember we had said off of the higher time frames, are we starting to come into location? Yeah. I don't know. We were doing this off of the 4 hour to start with. Usually I operate off of different charts. So I wouldn't necessarily do it this way, but I'm just having fun with you guys. But you can see we're coming down into these lows. So, if I was getting ready for trading for Monday morning, kind of like how I sort of mapped out that probably was a good area to be hunting shorts, well, I might do the same thing going the other direction. So momentum clearly pointing down and no signs of bottoms here whatsoever. This in itself would probably preclude me from wanting to hunt any longs anyway, because really, I want to see things like, trend lines being broken on momentum indicators. Oops. Right. W's in indicators. Yeah, maybe we are down in a trade location. That's beautiful reload zone against those lows. Up here, that's tough. And with this, that's tough. So I hate to say it, but looking at this, I would probably, and this is getting back to journaling. What I find works really well for me, and this is just me, like every single trader has to figure out what works for them. I can show you what works for me. It might work for you, but the odds are actually you're going to have to try and figure out what it is that ultimately works for you. Now, I'm a really big fan. What I like to do, if I show you, just say like Fridays isn't really the best example because I fucked it up. But let's go to back to, Thursday was okay. What I like to do is I like to actually start at the 4 hour chart, just like I showed you with Bitcoin, and just try and tell me, is this a trade location? If I got the indicators going into divergence, or are we at trend line resistance? Are we at horizontal support and resistance? Are we at price gaps? Yada, yada, yada. It goes on and on and on. And then after I've determined that we're at an acceptable trade level, Then I drill down to the lower time frames and start hunting the setups. So right here, looking at this 4 hour, I would say I'm not overly impressed with what I'm seeing out of the momentum indicators. That's, that's definitely for sure. Right? And if we actually put them all on, this is a daily. We're day trading though. We're down off the lower time frame. Still have this confirmed bear div working. So that has not been invalidated yet. RSI is still working its way lower. And in fact, actually, this is actually a really good application of my RSI. I don't even know what the word is. Not philosophy, but like the way that I like to use RSI. I like to draw 3 market structure trend lines whenever I'm doing RSI. So we'll start with this bottom here. So the first bottom is this W here. That stops this bear slide. So there was a wicked bear slide here. Lower highs, lower lows. It's just crapping out. Actually, you know what? Well, we'll start here. This was a really, really good example, but we'll start here. So this W stops the bear slide. And usually I like to color that teal. And it doesn't really matter. You can color it anything you want. But anyway, that W stops the bear. Then the next W that comes in actually is your bullish trade. And in this particular case, W, right? The second W, I usually color that yellow, and that's a really good trade signal. So first W stops the bear slide. That's there. Second W is a trade. And if it goes through the 50 line, it usually means it's a pretty powerful signal. And oh, gee whiz, look at that. It's through the 50 line. So that actually would be interesting. Let's just out of curiosity, let's just go see what the hell price did right here. Was it a pretty good trade? Oh, fuck yeah. Look at that. If somebody had come to you and said, Ryan, it's time to buy Bitcoin right there, would you have been happy with that recommendation? Pretty good trade, eh? You want to learn something? Chris, you want a little soundbite for our free videos? There it is right there, man. That's about as good as it gets. I don't know if you can see that. Josh, do you think you can market that? I mean, I just mapped out exactly how you use RSI to set up trades. And this second W through the 50 line, if that comes in, look out. And sure enough, that was a hell of a rally. Then the third W, and in this particular case, it would have been tough, right? Kind of thinking maybe, believe it or not, it could have been that one. It could have been this one. Could have been this one up here. But usually the third W I color in teal. Or purple. Purple. And this is usually when the noobs, or the new people to trading, the people that don't really know what they're doing, they'll often come in and buy overbought markets, and usually it's a trap. And of course, most of the public loses money from trading. So what a surprise. Let's see what it would look like had you bought this W up here. Oops. Let's try that again. Right there. Would have been a good idea to buy this big honking W up here. Well, that would have been buying there. And you can see we're actually pretty close to the top. For a little while, you've been like, yeah, I'm smart. Look at me. I'm a badass. And then, oh, no, now I'm underwater. Oh, geez, just come back. Just come back. All right, it's coming back. Okay, I'm a smarty. And oh, no, now I'm underwater again, right? So you can see the noobs, they always get crushed. So the point of the matter here, and like I said, this is kind of a tricky one because there's a whole bunch of little W's, right? There's a little W there. There's a little W there. These could have been messy, but let's just keep it as simple as possible. Big W up there. You're, trouble. Then we said the first, and now you can do this going the other direction. So the first M, we're going to color that teal. So let's see if you guys were listening to me. What does this teal, that's the hint, what does this teal M tell us to do? All right, good, Eddie. I think you're going to be a really, really good trader, Eddie. Cool your jets. Thank you, Eddie. Does that make sense, YouTube? And I'm like, holy free lesson. You realize that some people would be charging you to learn this? I mean, hell, there's guys on this stupid fucking social media nonsense that just use my affiliate code. You don't have to learn how to trade. Just if I'm telling you to buy, you're guaranteed to make money. Just make sure to use my affiliate code. I'm not asking you to do any affiliate codes. So YouTube, you didn't answer. I wanted an answer from you. Yeah, one thing you have to do is hit the like button, subscribe, ring Colleen's bell, and answer my questions when I tell you to jump. How often do you have to be correct to be a scratch trader if you trade 2-to-1 setups? There's another question you have to answer. So now I want 2 questions out of you before I move any further. So teal M's on RSI study means, and how often do you have to be right? You take 2-to-1 setups, risk reward setups, just to be a scratch trader. There you go, Alex. You know, if anything, what we were going to do, and it's probably a good idea, Chris, if you're listening, I think this show is a really, really good thing where we should do the super chat thing. So if I do happen to be dropping little value bombs, people don't really want to sign up for the site. They don't really want to sign up for the school. Maybe they're not ready, but they just want to throw us $5 or something. I think that would be a really, really good idea. So we've talked about this before, right, Chris? Super chat for public shows makes sense. Yeah. So that's a priority we should really be doing. Okay, so 33% is the answer to how often do you have to be right if you take 2-to-1 setups and you want to be a scratch trader, right? Scratch trader means you're not losing any money, but you're not making any money. You're just sort of treading water. 33% of the time, you only have to be right. So that just goes to show how super, super important it is to make sure you get paid 2-to-1 versus risk taken. Okay, so our answer here was teal, first M stops the bull. Now, is this a trade signal? What color does the M have to be to take a trade? Well, I mean, this is using our RSI methodology. If you want to use RSI as your indicator confirmation, that's fine. But I would avoid taking a trade off of this first M. This is bulls, cool your jets. If we want to take a trade, ironically enough, we need to see another M come in. And we said the really explosive trades happen on a yellow M through what level? And oh, by the way, there is that level, right? That was the bull explosive trade to the upside. Notice we're flirting if we do this M through the 50 line, right? There's the 50 line, as plain as day. This will be yellow because it's our second M. That's the trade signal. And if it comes through the 50 line, look out. There's probably going to be a pretty damn big trade. So, should we be in a short according to this right now if you're trading off the 4-hour charts? And oh, by the way, this is Nikola Tesla's 4-hour chart. And if you understand the logic behind that, then you and I will be friends. So really, I might argue that probably we're a little bit too early to be thinking about swing trades short on the corn here. If anything, what I want to see is I want to see another breakdown. And this is predicated off of the 4-hour chart. And you see how there's the uptrend line. And really what we're thinking about here, again, off this 4-hour chart, is we want to get a market structure signal here on the other side of that trend line. And you see how that works? So if we could get a bit of a counter trend rally, which might actually, like you see, I've drawn this, give us that second M, give us that counter trend rally that's going to form that second M. And then if that happens and we get a fail, that's going to be your through the 50 line, second M, yellow. Oh boy, all hell's about to break loose. What do you think? Is that a good tutorial? What do you think, Chris? Could we use that as a little free thing for the public? Okay, cool. And like I said, and if you want to finish it off and just say, well, and cue into this line, like I said, the proof of the pudding's in the eating. Pull up this RSI study, do it yourself, and notice how that second W came through the 50 line, yellow. That was the trade signal. And would you have been a happy Bitcoiner had you bought that signal? I think you would have. All right. So I guess the way that I would look at this is probably a lot. I like the idea that we're going to be weak into that Fed announcement, which is way over here. We might, as we had sort of pointed out off of like the lower time frame charts, I could actually, this is now drilling down to our day trader chart. And remember we had said, there's the 50% rule. Does it not make sense that day traders, they might actually be thinking about dead cat bounce back to original downtrend lines? Can you see where the downtrend line is there? And what kind of chart pattern does this potentially make? If I go there, and maybe there. What would that be? Not an inverted head and shoulders? Well, Matthias, we do have this site called therationalinvestor.com. We even have a 30-day trial. So you can even come on the site, Matthias, and you can sit and hang with us for the next 30 days completely free of charge. And we do these videos Monday to Friday, good 2-3 hour video every single day. So, and the interesting thing is we haven't even talked at all about what I think is going to be industry changing. And that is TRI's proprietary signaling systems. And as Eddie says, on Tuesdays, you even get Pentacooks. So TRIers will understand that joke. I might argue that the whole market here is looking a little bit dangerous. And this would make sense, right? Because I do like the idea that the market needs to calm down around this Fed. But based on, and this is an interesting commentary. Josh, who was on the call earlier, you probably heard me talking about him earlier. We built this crypto breadth indicator that flashed a week cell signal 2 or 3 days ago, and that makes sense, right? Because now we go back to that. I'm gonna do this. Well, actually, this is not bad. So hopefully all level oneers can see this. And you can actually, this isn't the best, but there we go. This was a beautiful W after a market just totally panicked. And of course, this was on a bullish divergence. Look at that beautiful bullish divergence there. Willie stupidly oversold. And by the way, Matthias, this is their core teaching of our school. So if you, my deal with the world and with the universe is this: I do these free videos Wednesdays and Sundays. So if you can check out the TRI YouTube channel. It's a really cool channel, actually. I gotta say, it's developing really nicely. We've got a whole bunch of short little tutorials that you can watch. They're like 5-10 minutes long, to sort of teach you a little bit. And this is what I was asking. Could we put that little RSI tutorial in here? I don't see why not. Here is the Broiler Chicken Show. And geez, I mean, God, there must be hundreds and hundreds of videos in there. Here's our Wednesday show. Interesting how that's showing that that's what we're live. Did we label this correctly here, Chris? I wonder if this is actually mislabeled. Oh, no, there we go. All right. Okay, so it is working. So there's our last Wednesday show. We also have some free tutorials that we've done on various different sites, fibs and stuff like that. In fact, actually, there's a really basic RSI tutorial here that I did for Coinigy years and years ago. Here's some basic video lectures that I have everybody watch just to try and learn how the economy works. And oh, by the way, I do find it interesting whenever I talk to people who are quote unquote learned in our society, they don't actually quite understand how the banking system works and how the banksters literally keep us humans as slaves, generation in, generation out. And anybody who actually wants to okay, quit with the bullshit and let's really learn how this banking system works, who runs it, what's their motivation, how do they profit, why do they profit, what's the fate of the rest of us. For God's sakes, you have to go watch this video. It's 3.5 hours long. It's the best documentary I've ever seen on how the actual banking system works. So the point of the matter is, I love to refer people to these kind of videos, and we've got them listed. Hell, this is the guy that's actually in charge of the Securities and Exchange Commission right now. And of course, he's got a big fucking hard on for shitting all over crypto right now. Should we listen to him? He taught a course at MIT on crypto. Should we? Is it worth our time to go and at least listen to what the hell he has to say? I think so. Probably would be a good idea, just so you understand where he's coming from. And keep in mind, guys running the SEC, he can make all of our lives in crypto very challenging if he wants to, and I think he does. But that's another conversation for another day. And then you heard me earlier talking about Josh. And, oh, this should be an open outcry. And Chris, I'm glad actually I did this. TRI members, this is a message to all of you. You can see Josh. Josh is our TRI PMA a writer, the TRI blog writer. He's also the guy that I make reference to with the swing trading model using TRI breadth indicator. And what's so cool is that, and he just left, but maybe he'll come back later on. He's got his own YouTube channel. If you are a TRIer, if you're a TRIer vet and you have a channel, I'd like to put you guys on here. Josh is the only one that's actually stood up and said, hey, I have a YouTube channel. Can you put me on there? And we did. So if you're a TRIer and you're a YouTuber and you've got a channel, we'd love to have you on there. And if you want to DM me, or you can DM Chris Blue on the site, let us know, and we will add you to the YouTube page. So anyway, this is our YouTube channel. Interesting number of subscribers there, right? Who's driving this bus? I wonder. What was it that I was going to say? Oh yeah. So my deal here with you is I'm one of these kind of. I mean, I'm an idiot, really. Just to keep this really simple, just go. Brian is an idiot. But I don't do the whole fucking shill thing. I just don't do it. If anything, what I want to do is I want to under promise, but over deliver. So, what do I mean by that? I mean, look how much content's on that YouTube page. And there are some people that I've literally said, look at, if you can teach yourself how to trade, here is the content. Of course, each week's video is like 2 or 3 hours long, so you got to weed through it. And there's one gentleman in particular, I'm very, very impressed with him. A very smart gentleman. And he's basically taught himself how to trade just watching these free videos. We all know him. In fact, probably one of you in the audience could probably recite his name. In fact, I'm surprised he's not even here today. Anyway, those are for like the really, really, really smart people that can put all this together, that take really good notes, that are insanely disciplined. Then there's the rest of us in this world. And trust me, I'm one of the rest of us. I couldn't do that. Who need some help, that just need some guidance. What does a trading plan look like? Matthias, do you know what should be in your trading plan? Do you have a strategic vision? Where are you going in your life? How does that affect your trading? How's the home life? How's your family life? What kind of dependents do you have? Can you even handle the stress of being a professional trader, given everything that's going on in your life? How are you going to measure whether you're actually succeeding at this thing called trading? What are the various tools that we use to keep track of what we're doing, how we're behaving, why we're behaving the way that we are? Are there best practices when coming to the market and looking for trading ideas? That's the whole point of this concept called rational analysis, in that we don't really care whether fundamental guys think that they're more important than technical guys who think they're more important than quantitative guys. I don't give a shit. All I care, Matthias, is I want to know what works, do more of that, and let's try and do less of what doesn't work. How do you do that? How do you go about that process? How do you even learn? If you've never been to the market before and you don't know what to look for, what is fundamental value? What is these things, market structure, this Beamish guy keeps talking about? What the hell is a key reversal? What's divergence? What does that mean? So if you're like the rest of us in this world and you need to have a structured education program, I'll be honest with you. I've never seen anybody teach trading the way that I've put this course together. The people that I've trained, keep in mind, every single one of our instructors are basically graduates of the program. And the various different support mechanisms that we have in place, like there's a guy over there on the YouTube page, the Joshua McGowan. He could very easily run his own website and comment about how to build trading plans. But he's actually chosen to work with our level 1 instructor and give these level 1 students just the most beautifully redundant best practices, good karma. These are the things you need to do to set yourself up for success. I mean, like I said, I've never seen anything like this in the trading world ever. I've been at this game forever. Most of the trading sites and education programs that you get, they can't even hold a fucking candle to our education program. Not even close. And it's so redundant. It goes on and on and on and on. Yep. Basically, we call it the Daily Brief Sniper. Every single day at 9 a.m. on the West Coast, you get a big old dose of the Beamish. And if you're really lucky, like I said, on Tuesdays, you get some Panicooks. And on Thursdays, although Julia's not been feeling too good lately, I hope you're feeling a little bit better, Julian. Hang in there. On Thursdays, we get good, we call it the baby powder report with Julian. Okay. I'm not sure how I got off on all that tangent. What do you think, Matthias? Did I sell you on signing up for the free 30-day trial? See, what a sales pitch just to give you something free. That's crazy. What a nut job. So I really hope to see you on the site, Matthias. And anybody else who's sitting there going, wow, this guy's a bit of a nut job. And, yeah, you're right, David. I mean, there is no other program. I guarantee you, all of you, you will never run into another Brian Beamish for the rest of your life in trading. You will never run into another guy like me. I am a weirdo. I'm a freak of nature. I had a number. I mean, Matthias, maybe you need to learn my story. But I don't have a very typical story. I have a very odd story. And it's because of life's odd circumstances that I am here doing this. So I would embrace this opportunity. Just the simple, like, you see how many followers there. You see how many people watch these videos. It's not in CNBC's best interest for a guy like me to do really well and to have 1 million subscribers, because we're going to change the fucking world, and we're going to undo a lot of the bullshit. Oh, this is the most exciting market since yesterday. Use my referral code, sign up, technical analysis, doesn't matter. You're guaranteed to make money if you just buy. And of course, 3 or 4 months later, I'm broke. What the fuck? And the guy's off there, well, I can't help you. I'm too busy jacking off looking at all my gold watches. There's Brian. Now, you can always tell when Brian gets excited, the octaves go up, the volume goes up. Brian gets all fucking freaked out. Anyway, so there's your sales pitch. I think a half an hour later, can you please sign up for our free 30-day trial? Please, pretty please. Okay, where the hell were we? You know what I have to do? The whole point of this is I'm supposed to be answering the students' questions. So I got about an hour left to work with you guys. So let's dig into the questions. And let's see if I can give you guys some value today on top of Brian's mindless rants. Oh yeah. Well, let's just I think I did talk about this. We should probably leave Heikin-Ashi candlestick trading alone. If you do make it to our level 3 program, Ray, our level 3 TA, who's like an options whiz, he really likes using Heikin-Ashi. Maybe we'll get him to come on and do a session about Heikin-Ashi specifically for the school program. I did a couple of the tutorials in years gone by off of Heikin-Ashi charts. That was probably a mistake. I should probably redraw them. Don't really worry too much about the Heikin-Ashi charts themselves. Concentrate more on the indicator information that I'm trying to impart on you. Concept of divergence, concept of overbought, oversold, concept of, yes, it is. It's absolutely required. And that's an important thing. Somebody just made reference, do I have to pass the exams to be able to go on to level 2 and level 3? And the unequivocal answer is you absolutely have to. And in fact, I require that you get an A on the exam to move on. It's an open book exam, which means if you paid attention and you took lots of notes and you're familiar with the course material, you walk through the final exam. But if you're just going to mail it in, you're going to fail outright. No ifs, ands, or buts. And keep in mind, a lot of the stuff that I teach is the stuff that I've learned and taught myself over the years. So you're not going to find a lot of this stuff that I teach in any textbook. I can absolutely guarantee you the volume impetus concept, you're not going to find anybody anywhere that teaches you that. The modified Williams percentage R indicator, this idea of Willie being stupid, you're not going to find that anywhere. Reload zone concept. Some people, other people call different fib levels different names, but nobody else uses the concept reload zone. So this is a very unique and individual expression of my experience working in the market for the past 30, 35 years. No, you're just, the Willie indicator just doesn't exist anywhere else. So also too, though, something like the fact, and exactly like level 3, as somebody in the Hangout here is pointing out, in the level 3 program, I teach you a whole bunch of derivatives trading stuff, which you're never going to find anywhere. And frankly speaking, I don't even want to talk to level 1ers or even really level 2ers for that matter. I insist that you have to get to the level 3 program before I talk to you about options trading. And in fact, I got one fucking just killer options trade. I couldn't believe this trade. This is a trade where you can put that on. It's going to cost you like $50 to put on a spread. It's going to cost you $50. And if this spread trade works, the market is going to pay you $5,000. And you have a year and a half for the trade to work. That's a pretty long time, eh? 18 months. Can this asset rally back to good old Mountain Man here in the next 18 months? If it can, this trade is 100x trade. 100x, and all Beyond Meat has to do is your good old Mountain Man tag here. Now, I just showed you how often Bitcoin, Ethereum, the whole damn thing, how often these guys hit the Mountain Man level. Is it realistic that this Beyond Meat rallies up into this window here sometime in the next year and a half? But as I said, I don't even want to talk to you guys about this because most times when you talk to the public about trading options, they end up blowing themselves up and you got a big fucking lawsuit on your hands. So I need to make damn sure you don't blow yourself up and you know what the rules are so that you don't blow yourself up. Anyway, and actually it's a good point there, Shark Toshi. I think that is a shark. So there you go. Nice. Well, you know what, Matthias? I hate to say it, but there are a few people from France who have actually come on, and I don't mean to be rude, but everybody knows about the French in history. That's sort of setting myself up for disaster. Brian, you're not allowed to say that. But I've actually had about 3 or 4 different French come on and literally steal the course material blatantly. And people have come on after the fact and said, Brian, do you know that this person is teaching all of your course material in French and not even giving reference to you? So could I have a beef running around southern France, maybe with a shovel or something, visiting some people and giving them a nice little tap on the forehead to remind them that that's bad karma? Not a terrible idea. Yeah, there you go. So, Matthias, I'm sorry, and I'm sure that pisses you off to no end, but I know a lot of French that they don't give a fuck, and they'll steal your stuff Hell, they'll steal it right from underneath you if they could. Which kind of sucks, but that's just the way it is, eh? All right, so let's get on with the questions. Okay, 24. Steve, I am paper trading the L-Tanganator on 1-day charts. Okay, so Steve, if you're doing off of daily charts, L-Tanganator, it's going to take some time for these setups to develop and play out. Just understand that. How can I determine a good location on assets like the following, where price is at an all-time low and the fib I drew was broken? Yeah, that's a good point. This is where extensions should really come into play. Extension level you could have done here was here to here, and then done like 127s, 1.618s, 200%. So what's that? Yeah. So what is this? This is EOS. This is interesting. EOS. I mean, you got W's there. I mean, one thing I will say is if your asset is at new all-time lows and you got big fat divergences, you got location. You know, like if you want to say, in fact, I used to work with a guy, Kenny Roberts, forever ago. I mean, forever ago. And his screening for trading commodities is the asset has to be either at new 5-year to 10-year highs or new 5-year to 10-year lows. So, you know, if this is at an all-time low, then yeah, that's trade location. The most important thing here, Steve, is I have to get you from stop buying up here. And, you know, I absolutely guarantee you that, you know, if we held a gun to Matthias or Sniper or M or whoever and said, have you ever bought one of these cryptocurrencies as it was face ripping up here? The answer is 99.99999% of the time, yeah, I have. And that's my number one job with the whole sort of trade location is we have to stop people from buying up markets. Now, if you're looking at this asset and you're coming to this as a down market and you're like, well, Brian, number one, is this valid L-Tanganator? I might say, you know, probably the L-Tanganator was probably hunting a setup here because there is the sort of reload zone. Price came down into here. Did we start forming divs? And there's the W. And then did this trade idea work? And I hate to say it, but I kind of think it didn't. I mean, this is the hardest part about this whole damn game. And this is why, you know, you guys are like 6,000 subscribers. This guy doesn't. It's so funny. Like some people will come to the channel and they'll be like 6,000 subscribers. This guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. I only listen to guys who have 100,000 or plus subscribers. Other people come and go, 6,000. Oh, I got to listen to this guy because he must not be fucking shilling over the top. He must just be like giving us the goods. So the goods are, and I don't know whether you're aware of this, the goods are, you should build your trading plan to expect to be right 60 to 70% of the time. And that means that you're building your trading plan to expect to be wrong 30 to 40% of the time. That's a lot. So this might be an example where you're like, well, Brian, I did have a bullish div. I did have a W. I took the trade and it didn't work and I got stopped out here. Totally fine. Here, would I call this L-Tanganator? I don't know. That's a tough one. I would probably go back to like just 3-step setup because remember, L-Tanganator really wants to try and buy against the bottom end of the range. But as you clearly pointed out, we broke to new lows here. So this is more like 3-step. What is my reasons? Now, it's interesting that you have these levels from whatever the hell this is going way back and the market actually playing here. So what I might suggest is, why don't we take a look at whatever those lows were? We're going to do this. I guess we're going to do it here. I'm not sure where you want me to look at this. I guess we'll go over to Binance. And I seem to remember I bought some of this recently. Yeah, this one looks like it went to new lows, or maybe not. Well, maybe that low held. That looks awfully suspicious. I bet there's probably other action before that. Oh. No, that's less. It also behooves you, especially with these cryptocurrencies, to really look for who's got the oldest data. Ah, there you go. That's a little bit better. All right. So your assumption on Binance that we traded to a new low actually was incorrect, eh? So I did see on your chart that you noted we're at there were all-time lows lower than this level. So ironically enough, actually, this still does technically qualify as El Tango Nader. Right, we're just going to go boobity-boo, and we're going to go reload zone. Then we're going to say, and really all El Tango Nader is saying is, are we at or below reload zones? And we are clearly well below the reload zone. Second component of El Tango Nader. Do we have a confirmed bullish momentum divergence? Now, this is a weekly chart. You said you were hunting off the dailies. So, what do we got here? For 1261, 1211, 1247. So, yep, that is a confirmed div. That's valid. So, we are at or below reload zones. Can we say we have valid trade location? Yeah, that's not bad. We are looking for signs that this market is oversold and actually stronger than what price would lead you to believe, i.e. momentum divergence. Looks like we have a nice div working here. That's confirmed. And, El Tango Nader is specifically looking for Willie needs to be stupidly oversold. So it looks like all the pieces are in place here. So this is actually, remember we talked 3-step setup. So we can go step 1, trade location, check. That actually gets to be a green box. So we're okay there. Have we got indicator confirmation? Well, we got a nice big bull div there. We got Willie stupid here, and usually I color these Willie boxes teal. So El Tango Nader looks fine. What's the now? So we've got location, indicator confirmation. What are we looking for now? That's it. So let's see what we got here. And Steve, what do we say was Linda Bradford Dradsky's already gone? Are you sure? I mean, it looks to me like it fired. Remember, the divergence was confirmed here. So we dumped again to a new low. What does Brian like to call this? Look at this. Now you've got, and make it really easy, one low. And actually, gee whiz, where's that low come from? That comes from there. One low there, one low. So that's that low. Then one low here, 1, 2. And now we got this one here. And look at this. Can you see this, Steve? Check this out. Can you see how there's actually a cute little div right in here? And this, if you really want to trade, right, Steve? I love the fact that you're saying that you're hunting these setups off the higher time frame and you're practicing. So add this to your tool belt. Do you see this little W right there? You see that? Notice that's a divergence. Ooh, hello. This is almost like a, what do they call it? Like God mode, super hack cheat. That's the shit right there. Now, what do I mean, first and foremost, what do we call this situation? 1, 2, 3. 1. Oh, this is a good example. 1, 2. So we got that one there, and then this one here. And now this divergence will confirm on a breakthrough there, 651. That one hasn't confirmed just yet. Still working away here. But I definitely like that little div right there. Oh my God, that's so sweet. Willie stupidly oversold. You even have a div on RSI. Can you see the div in RSI there? So we actually have a confirmed, and the answer I was looking for was, this is a single divergence or a single D. This is a double divergence or a double D. Does Brian like double Ds? It took a while to set that joke up. It took forever. Now, I mean, we might even get a third low. In fact, actually, I think you could make the argument this is third double D. Anyway, I like the idea that there's a div here. There's a confirmed div here. Willie is stupid. Interesting enough, there's the all-time low. So at this point here, what's the only thing that's missing? Especially like, say, right here. What's the only thing that's missing? We got indicator confirmation. We know that we're at trade location. What is the only thing that's missing right here? Ryan. Steve, are you here? Are you with me? Confirm W. Well, what's the textbook way we explain that? Market structure. Nice. Well, can you see that W right there? Down, up, down, did not go to new lows, broke out. The interesting thing is that they even did it twice here, right? Just to make darn sure. There's actually two. There's one W there, and there's another W there. So, holy trade. Does that make sense? Is this guaranteed to work? Then you have to learn this, Steve. Is this guaranteed that you're absolutely guaranteed to make money? No, you're not. And it sucks. It's a trader's life. What did we say? What was the statistical probability that we want to put into our plan that we are going to expect this to work what percentage of the time? Good. And what is the minimum reward we need to have to justify taking that trade? Good. Now, you know the Altangonator, and you're trading off a higher time frame. What is our price objective that we should use here? Hello, Steve. Oh, I think we lost Steve. Excellent. Nice. Well, it sounds to me like you understand this shit. Now, the question ultimately is, what 50% level are you going to use? I mean, you could go here, but have you ever heard me say to you guys that, if you map all this out, right, there's the 50% rule. You got a trade setup that's like, okay, I got to buy here, and I got to risk against the bottom end of the range. And my price objective is going to be up here. Is that realistic? I mean, come on. What did we say was the minimum price objective that you really want? 2 to 1, right? And you're going to go, well, Brian, I'm going to use the 50% rule. So my trade setup is a 21 to 1 risk reward. You could have that as an ultimate objective. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I don't know how realistic that is. What I would say is try and use like swing high and swing lows. Obviously, this is a pretty important swing high. Good way. And the good part about this is it's so cheap. What do you think? I mean, first and foremost, let's see, what is a 50% rule? There we go. So interesting how this breakout is about $1. And oh, gee whiz, what's that number? Do you think this is an accident? What is that little old lady likely to do at this level if she bought at $1? Very good. Do you think that there are a few people who've set this trade up in the marketplace? Short answer, yes. I think this is probably a very manufactured trade. And it looks like it's just working away here. Do you see how that trade's actually it's like kind of telegraphing itself. This is pretty darn obvious. Now, interesting thing is what do you think you should do here if you wanted to be in this trade, but you missed the trade? Should you chase? Just pay that price right there? Well, let's be a little more specific. Now, Eddie, Eddie's there. He's the troublemaker in the back of the classroom going, hey, the answer is this. Hey, say that. Yeah, why not? Like, what would happen? What do you think the odds are that if I draw a reload zone, it's probably going to line up somewhere right in this area? I'd say probably pretty darn good. Like, you could even just go off of this range. So, boom. And boom. Good old Mountain Man. Hey, that's where Paul, I don't know whether Paul's watching still. Can you see how these are the breakout levels right there? And there's the reload zone. Now we could even go off of this, though. You want to get real cheap ass. Have you ever heard me say, Steve, candle body lows for trade location? How's that for a trade location, eh? And that low right there. Whoa, sex-alicious. So, Steve, what I want us to do here, I mean, you can take several approaches. You could just say, Brian, I'm just going to work my bid right at the original breakout. And if it pulls back, ding, 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 I get a fill, and away we go. What do we call this move here in the market that comes back against that level? If you don't know this, write it down. Good answer, Sonori. Steve, read the YouTube page. So you could do that. You could even sprinkle in a couple orders. Why don't we say bid one? We will bid off of the breakout, just so we get some on the books. Why don't I work another order at the 78.6? Because Brian keeps telling me those candle body lows are awesome trade location. So we'll work bid two right here. So maybe you get filled on both, and now you have an average price right in here. Is that not a bad level? That's not bad. That's up to you, Steve. What do you think? And this is where it's critical that you paper trade. How many trade setups in this level 1 program? Because the point here, Steve, and correct answer, the point here is there's no right or wrong way to do this. I can absolutely guarantee you there will be trades where, for some crazy reason, maybe somebody in the public panics and they just market sell, and this thing just comes screaming right down into these levels. But what do we call the bar that made the low plus the preceding bar? What do we call that level right in there? And this one here, the bar that made the low plus the preceding bar. And this one here, the bar that made the low plus the preceding bar. Right. Now, what does that mean institutions were doing in here? And isn't this Richard Hart? Is this Richard Hart's coin? All right, now, Sonori, that's a level 2 program concept, though, Sonori. So let's just stick with level 1 concepts right now for the level 1 students. So if somebody markets sold and dumped and the price just collapsed straight line down, does it not make sense that maybe the institutions are going to have their buy orders down here and they will buy again? Does that make sense? So sometimes, and I think we have this set up in the library, sometimes, especially in crypto, right? With crypto is venture capital. These guys are just insane high octane. But this is that last bull market. This was one of my favorite trades, especially in the shit coins. You ever seen this chart before? If you work your stink bid down at that 78.6 against the original market structure bottom, sometimes somebody's panic dumping. You see all these tails in here. Somebody stopped the bear and turned it back up. Is there a W there? No, it just happened so freaking quick that you had to have your order working there, or you just missed the trade. And you can quickly get doubles, and boom, instantly I got a risk-free trade. Does that guarantee that this floor is going to hold? No, it doesn't. And we might just crash right through the bottom. So the point being here, Steve, is that you have to take so many of these setups that you as an individual have to get comfortable. I don't like taking these stab lows. They fill me with too much anxiety. I have to see, at the very least, I have to see maybe like an inside bar or like a fractal or, an engulfing bar. Or maybe you're like, you know what? I have to see a W down in here. Or I have to see that, because if I don't see the W, then I get freaked out and I can't sleep at night. Does that make sense? There isn't a right or wrong. It doesn't work that way. It's what works for Steve. And the only way you're going to figure that out is you have to get in there and take these trades. And like I said, we go through the paper trading. Then once you get comfortable with a setup and you're not making mistakes, the whole reason why we ask you to do 100 is most of your initial trades of that 100 are going to be mistakes, and they're going to be wrong. And that's fine. That's the whole point of the school, is you got to work through, stop doing what doesn't work and start doing what does work. So the process of you filling out those 100 trades, you're going to get to the point where you stop making mistakes. For those people that are like, well, Brian, I already have a trading plan. I already know trading setups. I don't make mistakes. Then that's where I recommend that this is for sort of a more mature audience. I actually recommend that you go through this process. And really, I would argue that you want to, any new setup that you're working with, you want to do 20 trades. Of course, no mistakes. If you haven't make any mistakes, you got to start back at the beginning again. And then 21 account, 1/10 account size trade. So you actually have real money in the game. And you know, it's a big difference between just paper trading and actually seeing the screen go up and down in value with live trades on. And then, of course, if the trade setup doesn't work, you have to act, you know, if you got live money on the line. Then if you get to the point where you've done 20 paper trades, 21 account size trades, you still feel like, okay, I've got this set up, I'm feeling positive, it's producing desirable results, then you can start live trading full-size account size trades. So it's a very, very long process. And the interesting thing is the answer to your question is it will show in your log what you need to see for you to be comfortable taking that trade. Maybe, you know, and this is more of a level 2 concept. So, you know, I was even telling somebody that in your level 1 class this morning, you're learning a profession here. For God's sakes, don't be in a hurry. Take the next year and do those 100 paper trades. Get good at this profession, and then you've got the skill set for the rest of your life. You might, going through this, go, you know, Brian, I used to do your 3-trade setup, but, you know, now I see how incredibly important it is to have market structure on the other side of the trend line. I don't take a trade if I ever see an M on the top of an uptrend line. I will not touch that. I don't care whether you got trade location, indicator confirmation, and a big fat M. There's no fucking way in hell I'm taking this trade unless the structure is on the other side of the trend line. It's fine by me, but the only way you're going to get to know that is you got to log these trades. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? Yes. All right. I'm going to assume, Brian, you are awesome. Thank you so much. All right. So I hope that helped answer that question. Number 2, does L Tangonator require a confirmed double divergence on MACD or just a single? It doesn't have to be a double D. You know, Brian, he loves double Ds. I love triple Ds. Quadruple Ds? Well, now you're going to get me to go into conniption fits. All right, number 3 from Nicholas. Brian, I already watched the video in the library about bonds, and it is clear that the interest rate increases, bond price tend to fall. Not tend to fall, they must fall. You know, in the last BCS, you said that BC interest rates increased. Coupons are more attractive to investors, so money will flow from risk assets to fixed income. Yeah, it could be. My question here is, wouldn't that increase prices? Yes, it would. Of bonds because of more demand. Yes, it does. I'm a bit lost here because the logic seems to be that increasing interest rate pushes the price of bond, pushes the price down of bonds. However, at the same time, they become more attractive due to the coupons, so more demand, therefore prices should be pushed up. Okay, so first and foremost, is supply and demand fixed? Really? A guy named Brian, eh? I sure hope his name wasn't Brian Beamish. That would suck. That's Beamish. And if there's something that I specifically said, Matthias, that was scammy, please let me know. Because if anything, I try extremely hard not to come across as a shill. I'll tell you, the stuff that we've built here, it works. And if you want to make money from trading, sign up for the site, sign up for that dashboard. This stuff is the shit. But it is the shit. It's not a scam. So anyway, okay. So first and foremost, and I don't know who asked this question, Nicholas, is supply and demand fixed? And the answer is no, it's not fixed. Supply and demand is constantly fluctuating. So if you have a really, really high bond price, like let's say over here, up here, at this point right here, there will be a very quantifiable supply and demand function. X amount of supply, X amount of demand equals price. Bond prices fall, which means that your interest rates are going up, which means that if you buy here, you're going to get a bigger payment relative to the price that you're paying for the security. Watch that bond video again. I'm not going to go into the mechanics of how the bond market works. I think you understand how it works. But understand that definitely supply and demand dynamic at this price are going to be very, very different than at this price. You might have it, keep in mind, right? The yields look exact opposite. So if we go overlay, what else? It's this one. And we go T and X. This is the 10-year yield. So it's slightly different. This is the 30-year T-bond. I don't know what the 30-year yield symbol is. Oh, 30. Okay, TYX. There we go. All right. So this now is the yield. So hopefully you can understand yield has changed dramatically. Purple. So yellow. Now let's put the scale over on the left. All right. Let's change this to regular. Regular. Okay. So in teal or blue or whatever the hell this is, that's the price of the bond. And you can see up top, the price of the bond was $182. Down here, the price of the bond's $140. Wow, that sure went on sale, didn't it? I mean, that's remarkable, isn't it? 180 bucks to 140 bucks. Remember, the coupon is fixed. So the interest paid on this bond up here, it's way down here, 1.2%. So if I buy this bond at 182 bucks, I'm going to get 1.2% with the coupon. That's going to create a very specific supply and demand function. Right? There's some people that are going to be like, 1.2%, that's way too low. Why the fuck would I buy this thing? That's crap. Now that price has been brought all the way down here, remember the coupon stays fixed. Now the yield is 2.99%. That's a lot more attractive. Does it make sense that the guy who's buying the bond for yield, that's the demand guy. That's this guy. Not much demand up here. Prices collapse. Now the bond yields up here. That's demand. These guys are like 3%. All right, now we're talking. Their demand comes in. Says, I'll buy that bond if I'm going to get 3% yield. It's attractive. 1.2%, waste of time. I'm not interested. 3%, I am interested. I mean, it's not a great yield, but it's better. So it shouldn't surprise us that demand goes up. Now, the question here ultimately becomes, what is investor expectation going forward for the people who are chasing yield? Now remember, if somebody's buying a bond for yield, are they going to be trading it in the marketplace back and forth like our crazy ass fucking Bitcoin trader, nutso crazy ass dudes? No. They're buying the bond to collect the coupon. And they want to keep collecting these coupons. So what are they likely to do? Keep in mind, this is a 30-year treasury. if I buy that bond at 3% because I like that yield so much, I'm probably just going to hold on to the bond and just keep collecting the coupon till maturity. The bond matures at par. I get my $100 back. Tickety boo. Now, at the same time, there's the supply side of the function. This is a U.S. Treasury bond, so who is supplying? And the interesting thing is the actual U.S. government, are they decreasing the amount of bonds that they're selling into the marketplace, or are they increasing the amount of bonds that they're selling into the marketplace? Maybe I need to show you something. Is this number, is it going up or is it going down? The only way to generate this money is they have to keep selling bonds into the marketplace to generate this money. And you hope that there is demand in the marketplace for this paper, because that's what it is. It's just paper. And I can tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, there may where the hell the bond chart? Oh yeah, there may easily come a day where there is no demand. Nobody wants this shit. 3%, still no demand shows up because the paper is worthless. So in this particular case, we've assumed that there is demand. We know for certain that this is not going down. Supply is increasing constantly. The answer is yes, Andre. He says, Vince creates debt with money and keystroke. Do they get U.S. treasuries as collateral and collect the interest? Yeah. And you know, this whole quantitative easing thing, all they did was they took, because there was so much supply of bad bonds in the marketplace and there was no demand, and the Chinese government themselves said, you either buy these bad bonds off of us or we're going to dump them in the marketplace. There will be no demand for U.S. bonds at all, and the price will just collapse. And the American Fed went, we got a bit of a problem. There's too much supply in the marketplace. So they created this quantitative easing bullshit, where quite literally the Fed itself went in and they actually were part of demand. Because keep in mind, the supply just keeps going up and up and up and up. So the demand, so part of the demand equation was actually the U.S. Fed, and we're just going to put those bad bonds over there. Don't anybody look. Don't you fucking look. They're over there. I mean, that's how serious this shit is. If somebody actually audited the Fed, they would find out that there's a whole bunch of bad debt there and there ain't no money to back it up. So don't you fucking dare look over there. Like, that's how serious this shit is. So to try and keep this situation afloat, the Fed actually comes in and they buy up a lot of these bad bonds. And to answer your question, Andre, I think it was Andre who asked this, and this gets complicated, but in the Great Depression, there were a whole bunch of bad bonds. It's exactly the same scenario. Nothing has changed. But the U.S. federal government created an agency that went in and bought up all those bad bonds. Now, the interesting thing about that is that if the people just kept making the payments on the bonds, regardless of what their price is in the marketplace, they would just eventually mature. And the Fed calls that running off their balance sheet. I don't know whether you've ever heard Chapow use that expression. Yeah, I know. Oh, fuck. Oh, you're right. Look what time it is. Thank you, Glass Insight. I appreciate that. I'm really sorry that I talk too much, guys. Oh my God, look at all the fucking questions. You know what I think we're gonna have to do? I think tomorrow we're gonna have to do this because there's no negotiating. I have to leave here in 10 minutes for Liam, or else I'm dead done. So I thank you very much for reminding me, whoever that was. I'd be in big trouble if I was late. But just to quickly answer your question, yes, you're right. The Fed did take possession of these bonds. The Fed is collecting the interest paid on these bonds. The Fed has said that while we're in this health crisis, they will remit all of the coupons and all the maturing bond money profit back to the U.S. government. Now, I'd be very curious to see at what point, and of course, these cocksucker banksters are not going to tell us, but at what point does the Fed stop handing that money right back to the U.S. government and start pocketing those profits? And my hunch is that's probably within the next few years. Once, as soon as everybody's forgotten about this sickness, once we're all obsessed with some sort of war in Eastern Europe, or maybe a war in Asia, and people have completely lost interest in the whole 2008 financial crisis and quantitative easing, they'll just quietly go about stopping remitting that money back to the U.S. Treasury, and the Feds and the banksters actually just start pocketing the profits themselves. Because keep in mind, one of the best investments the United States of America ever did, and they made the most money, and it's one of the reasons why the U.S. became as wealthy as it did, was the U.S. government actually profited from going into the market and buying up all those bad bonds in the Great Depression at like pennies on the dollar and just holding on to them to maturity. It was a massive win. And I guarantee you that the banksters looked at that and said, that is the number one thing we have to prevent this go round. And that is why you have this thing called quantitative easing. So I hope I answered the question about coupons. It's a really simple question, but if anything, go back into the document who was it? Nicholas, who asked this good question, because frankly speaking, understanding how the bond market works and the motivation of people in the bond market is freaking difficult to figure out. So let's come back tomorrow in our daily brief. Let's circle around and let's attack these questions again. And if anything, on Mondays, I'm looking for content for you guys. So what the hell? We'll spend Monday just continuing along these questions. That sound like a plan? Are we all on board? Francis, the Pamp, Neck of a Pencil, you guys, and also whoever asked this question. Let's spend tomorrow's rant attacking this, okay? I don't know. I have no idea how the hell I go on for 2 or 3 hours and run out of time. But I've run out of time here, and I have to get going for Liam. So, goodness. I hope I gave you guys some good value there today. Kind of a fun experience with you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope new people who are just watching the stream for the first time, you get a bit of a taste of what we do here at TRI. And I'm not even going to do any more shill here. All I'm just going to say is, have yourselves an awesome rest of your day. PMA for the win. If you want to learn how to trade, that's what we do. If you want tools that'll help you really sharpshoot your trading, that's what we do. And I actually think we have some tools that you can't find anywhere else on the interneting. We have education that you can't find anywhere else. And we have a community of good people. I was listening to a podcast by Joe Rogan. I'm going to finish off with this thought because actually I thought it was really cool. And the guy who was sort of interviewing him was like, what's some of the secrets of success? And one of the main things that he said was you have to surround yourself with really good people. And I got to say, since
the death of my wife and me coming into your universe in crypto and me basically giving myself to you people, the good Lord has surrounded me with incredible people. Just absolutely. I, if I was gonna say, this person went through a really tough tragedy in their life, and you need to go somewhere where the people around you are going to treat you nicely and fairly and with respect and dignity. They're not going to try and fuck you over. They're not going to try and shill you something that you don't need. Regardless of whether I'm here or not, these people are, well, you're just beautiful. I can't say it enough. So thank you to all of you for being in my life, for helping me to see that there is still a reason to be alive. I hope to God I can somehow help you people. It's my promise to all of you. I won't stop. I will spend the rest of my days on this planet. I don't know a hell of a lot. I'm not really that smart. I'm very opinionated sometimes. I'm fat, ugly, and lazy. I'm losing my hair. But if it's one thing I know, and I've been doing it forever, is I know the markets. And I will spend the rest of my life trying to help you guys as best as I possibly can. So thank you. PMA for the win. Sorry if I'm sounding like a total schmutz here. Wish me luck with Liam. I absolutely need all of your karma for Liam. It really helps. It really, really does help. Have yourselves a great rest of your day. Chris, have fun with all of that content. If you can pull out a piece or two there that you think the public could benefit from, awesome. And I'll see everybody on the site tomorrow morning. And we'll do another 2 or 3 hours of this. All right, everybody. Have the best. All the best. PMA for the win. Love you all. Hugs and kisses. And the only thing left for me to say at this point is a big bye for now.